What's up, guys? On the fly, the final score. Guess what day it is? It's hump day. I'm not going to say it like that freaking camel said it. The blast from the past, that camel commercial. It's hump day. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great week so far. Um, it's been a pretty good week. I had the day off, been out. If you notice, if I'm a little darker, I got some dealing with some burning some stuff, burning some sticks and limbs and stuff like that built up over time. I've been out in the yard doing that this morning for a little while. Um, just want to drop in. I hadn't done a update this week, and I'm sorry as I can be for that. My intention was to do one too. Ooh, what night was it? Was it last night? This week really has messed me up. Last night I had every intention of doing it. And after I had an interview last night, which it will be a future. If you were tuning in live, you saw it. Eric Dunlow talking about his new EP that will be coming out in July 28th. Some things never change. So if you didn't check that out, you'll have a chance to. I'll have it up on the On the Fly podcast, uh, catching you up on what we got going on um, tonight. Nicole at Brickshore Media got me another guest, which is a guy that I've been texting back and forth. You know, we met through his wife actually. Yeah, that sounds weird. We met through his wife, Andy Vander. Brian Mullen is. I hope I'm saying your name right, Brian. We haven't talked about that. I may be butchering his name. If so, I know how you feel. People butcher my name all the time, but yeah, we've got a show tonight with him. We're going to talk a little bit about. He's got some music that he's working on now. It's in the beginning stages, and but our main conversation tonight, when Andy was on for her interview, um, he was in the live show. He was checking out the comments, and we were talking back and forth. He's a big Tesla fan, so as we did on our 100th episode, we did the Kiss Black Diamond album draft tonight at 8 o'clock live. We will be doing the Tesla Coming at You Live album draft, which will be between the Great Radio Controversy and Mechanical Resonance. We'll be taking these songs off those albums, and we'll be making our own albums out of that. So it should be. It was pretty cool last time with Steve Wright. Me and Warden had Steve Wright from the Potter and Hill podcast. If you haven't checked those guys out, please do. Um, Steve has been a good friend of the show. We appreciate Steve. And yeah, that'll be tonight. Then tomorrow night, the final score. Me and Matthew will be back. We haven't been on in a while, and we're going to be talking about what's going on in sports, and then we'll be doing our top 10 favorite NFL quarterbacks of all time. Not the best, what we feel is the best, but our favorite. So don't be when you see this list. Oh, I don't know how you didn't have Tom Brady number one. You know, if Tom Brady won't even, I'll go ahead and give you a hint. Tom Brady is not going to even make my list because it's guess what, guys? It's favorites, not what y'all want to call goat or whatever like that. So uh, give me a break on that. Um, hold on. I've got something coming in. um, so that'll be tomorrow night with the quarterbacks. Tonight, like I said, Brian will be on. We've got a couple of episodes next week we're going to be doing. That they should be coming soon. We also have a our latest episode on the fly will be coming out today. I'm actually uploading the stuff right now, and that'll be another blast from the past. Miss Noel Tolan if you didn't catch it live, you can see it. You'll be able to see it now on YouTube on our YouTube channel, and find us on Spotify, Apple playlist. I've got playlist on my mind, Apple, and wherever you listen to your podcast at. So Brian's here. Guess what? Our guest for tonight. He's in here commenting now. So it should be interesting tonight to see how me and Brian do with our picks. Like I said, it will be mechanical resonance and the great radio controversy. We'll find out how each one of us got into Tesla, uh, what we think of Tesla. You know, Tesla just came out with a new live album. I haven't been able to get it. It's on my list with my album challenge, and I'm getting where I'm gonna have to re-up my list. I'm gonna have to add more to the list. And Brian and Jim gave me some ideas the other night of some albums to check out. So we'll be checking those out. They were added to my list as well. So I haven't. I first of all, before I go any further, I just want to show y'all I'm representing tonight. If you haven't seen one of the Rock Talk with Mitch LaFon, Mitch LaFon is like what I consider. People love Eddie Trunk, and Eddie Trunk, deserves the recognition, but this guy deserves recognition too. Mitch LaFon is like, back in the day when I first was like on Twitter, at Facebook, looking at social media for information on music. That was the guy I went to, and I probably aggravated him more, uh, asking questions over the last 7 or 8 years than a little bit about what he thinks of this, what he thinks of that. And he was actually a guest on the show right when we first started. I was thrilled. To get Mitch on. But Mitch has been going through a rough time. He's dealing with long COVID right now, and it's he's not doing his podcast anymore. But if you believe in that kind of thing, if it's in your will, say a little prayer for. He's doing. I think he's not bad, but he doesn't feel great at all. I check on him every once in a while, and I know I aggravate him with that too. But man, I mean, he's such a great guy, always willing to talk. And if you haven't heard him at an early age, I think was he 9 or 10, something like that, maybe a little bit older than that, doing an interview with Gene Simmons, and how, I mean, to hear the story he tells the story when he was on the podcast about how he did that. He just looked up a coin management in the phone book, called him and said he wanted to do an interview with Gene. Or an interview with Kiss, and his mom had to take him to New York to do it. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and I think it's on YouTube. You can look it up on YouTube. It's pretty cool. Um, Brian talking about Eddie Trunk. Eddie talks too much. Yeah, Eddie has a way of. Eddie does some things sometimes that you know, I don't like, but yeah, it is like an Almost Famous story. But we I think the world of Mitch. Even though I've never met Mitch before in my life, I think the world of him, and I'm praying that he'll get better soon. He'll feel better, and maybe he told me that the podcast is done, but I'm hoping he'll feel good enough one day where he can get back into it, do the podcast some more, and hope I haven't overstepped my bounds. With Mitch saying this and asking people to pray for him, but just something I felt like I need to do, and I'm representing him today. Get well soon, Mitch. We miss you. I know you still post on social media, but we miss your podcast. We miss you being on the podcast out there. All right. So now that we got that over with, watching. You guys know I'm a wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling and I'm an old school wrestling fan. I'm not like what you would call. I like some of the new stuff, but it's not something I've got. I can't really say I can't miss it. I can't miss it. But yeah, back in the day when I first started watching, which was in like '85. Wow, it was like, and I was a Crockett guy, North Carolina, the NWA, Mid Atlantic territory. I was a diehard Crockett fan, and if you haven't watched this Dark Side of the Ring series that comes on Vice TV, You can watch it on the app. I think I even think they put it on YouTube. Some of the episodes after they come out. They did an episode the other night. We talked about the Tammy and Chris, the Tammy Sitch and Chris Candido one that was started off. I think this is season 4. The second episode was Magnum TA. It was called Shattered. And if you don't remember Magnum TA, this guy Terry Allen was his real name. And when you hear it, you're thinking Magnum PI, and that was big back then. And Andre the Giant told him back then, you should change your name to Magnum. You look a lot like him. You should change your name to Magnum TA. And he did it. The rest is history. This was a guy that was, if you watch the episode, he talks about, they had a meeting where he was told that he was going to be the next NWA World Champion. He was going to win the belt from Flair, but he had been in such an intense feud with Nikita Koloff that they had to do something to distance him from that feud. So they had another feud with, a guy named Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin that they were doing at the time. And, of course, the wreck happens. He has a wreck 5 minutes from his house. What's up, David? How you doing, buddy? He has a wreck like 5 minutes from his house in a Porsche and ends up paralyzed. Don't know if he's going to make it or not. And, of course, never was able to wrestle again. So, and they told him he never walk again, which he does now. And he's going to he's going to another line of business and been really successful with it. I would love to be able to talk to Magnum TA. That would doing a potluck for your staff today. Hey, where's the invite, bud? Where's the invite? We can come out there and get some food. Well, yeah, Magnum, and you think about it, at the time, Vince was down there at WWF or up there at WWF up north, and he had Hulk Hogan. He was kicking butt. But Crockett was white hot there. I mean, they were doing good business too. So it was everybody talks about the Monday Night Wars and all this. Well, I mean, to an extent, this wasn't to the Monday Night Wars because there wasn't social media and all that stuff about it. But this was a war at the time too. Vince was doing some things behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about, that was trying to defeat WCW. But Magnum TA, when he goes down, that's like he was going to be like the NWA version of Hulk Hogan. I don't know if they had to play, and can you imagine the feuds that he could have had over his belt? If he gets the world belt, Nikita is still going to have the U.S. belt, which he would have been number one contender. Then you got that intense feud. Then you got Flair and the Horsemen. They're still going to be there. And a lot of times that people say, especially in Crockett. Crockett had where Vince liked Hogan and liked the baby faces to have the belt and to hold the belt for a long period of time. Crockett liked Flair to have it was a Porsche 911. He talks about that. You saw that episode, I'm sure, David, as big of a fan you are. But yeah, so I'm not sure if they would have kept it on Magnum long, just went back and forth with him and whoever over the belt. I don't know. I never really saw a baby face. And you think about it in WCW, even in the WWE years, the WCW years, you never really saw a baby face hold the belt for too long. I mean, you had Flair. When I'm just going about Flair versus Magnum was going to be Starrcade 86, I believe. And that was going to be when he won the belt. But there's some conflicting stories out there about that too, because some people, I think Jimmy Garvin said it was supposed to be him and Magnum at Starrcade, and it ended up being him and Brad Armstrong. But I don't know. I can't see. Garvin went from being in a feud, was going to be in a feud with a high on the card guy like Magnum to, and no offense to Brad Armstrong. Brad Armstrong is the most underrated wrestler that I've ever seen. If Brad Armstrong could work the microphone, Brad Armstrong, like his brother, like Road Dogg, Brad Armstrong would have been a superstar. And I mean, because he was so smooth. He could do moves. He had the best one of the best drop kicks you'll ever see. But Brad was just coming in, I guess from Continental. I guess I don't know where Brad was before he to came to NWA. But Brad was just coming in, hadn't really established himself with the fans yet. So he's one of the opening matches with Jimmy Garvin uh, on Starrcade '86. So then they were talking about, Dusty didn't know what to do, so he pulls the ultimate turn. This white hot heel Russian at the time with the Cold War stuff going on. Nikita Koloff turns him babyface and makes him its partner. And the story fit. He was talking about Nikita talking about how much respect he had for Magnum. He wanted to carry on the fight for Magnum. They had some knockdown drag outs, and he respected Magnum for those fights that they had. And then even the cover of one of the magazines, it had Nikita tearing up, and he had the title on the bottom, "I Cry for Magnum TA." I mean, but one of the most interesting parts of that story, and you think, especially back in the day, people that watch wrestling didn't watch wrestling back then and watch it today don't understand what kayfabe is. But kayfabe is when they want to keep in character all the time. These wrestlers were told, even if you were if Flair and Magnum were really good friends, they were told not to hang around with each other because one was a babyface, one was a heel. They were against each other. And Magnum in the hospital, the guys from the Horsemen want to go see him, but they can't go to the hospital because if they go to the hospital, guess what? They can't. That's breaking kayfabe. So they had a connection to that hospital that would sneak them in there late at night and let them go visit Magnum in the hospital. And I'm a Ric Flair fan. I'm probably not as much as I used to be because of some things, but Flair carried him the big 10 pounds of gold belt, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt, put it on his chest and got him. He said, "I'm giving you this one." He said, "I want you to come back and get the other one from me." So class act there. I mean, that was classic to do that. But yeah, if you have not watched the Magnum TA Dark Side of the Ring episode, if you haven't watched any of them Dark Side of the Rings, I suggest you do. It's a good watch, especially if you're a wrestling fan like I am. So some stories in the news, and this is a weird one here. Queensryche. This is the title on Ultimate Classic Rock right here. Queensryche surprised by fake digital EP release. Queensryche appeared to be the victims of a fake EP release after 5 versions of their classic song Silent Lucidity appeared on the band's official Spotify account. And this thing keeps going on. The first version is an isolated vocal track, while the third is the instrumental backing. The fourth and fifth versions are sped up and slowed down versions of the song. The unofficial playlist appearance led to comments from fans with one asking, "Are you effing serious? I think it's better to take a nap or the day off instead of making something like this." Another tweeted, "Thank you so much. The Alvin and the Chipmunks remix, the slow motion stoner remix." Oh no, this thing is this thing's messing up on me. Slow motion stoner remix were exquisitely delightful. Both drew a similar response from Queensryche. "We have no idea what this is or who put it up. We did not do that or create it. We had nothing to do with this. No idea where it came from, but it's not us." So how does this get on Spotify? The band has endured personnel issues since the original singer Jeff Tate's relationship with his bandmates collapsed to the extent that two versions of Queensryche were performing at the same time until they reached a legal agreement in 2013. Most recently, drummer Scott Rokenfield, who's been absent for several years, accused the group of preventing his return from an agreed hiatus and launched a website, Queensryche2021.com, which has since disappeared. What's up, buddy? What's up, Sean? Case goes to court January 2024. Last week, Rockville said on social media that he was in full band work communication since 2017 and continued to present music and offers that would benefit the band and our brands. I hold no ill will to anyone, including my business partners, but I'm also not going to be pushed around and are not allowed to have what I have built over and owned for 40 years now. So how could this have got done? And I mean, I'm no expert on the Spotify stuff or how you upload stuff but I'm sure hackers can do anything. But what is the process you got to go through to get something uploaded to a band's Spotify account? I mean, why? I mean, this is like I said, it's one thing with the isolated track and the vocals and the isolated tracks, but a sped up and slowed down version, I don't understand. And look, before I knew it was a sped up version, I was listening. I was commenting. I was messaging somebody, and I said, "It just sounds like Jeff Tate's vocals sped up," which it was. And then I looked at it. And I said, "Oh, okay, that makes sense because it says sped up version." But it's just really weird that happened. I mean, not accusing anyone, not accusing Scott Rockfield or anything. Hackers could have done this, but it's just really weird how somebody could get in there and do that to their Spotify account. But that's what goes on. Now, Rod Stewart. I don't know if you guys heard this. Rod Stewart is saying that he is soon to be exiting rock music after the upcoming tour. He said he wants to leave rock behind. He said he discussed his desire to pivot genres in a recent BBC interview. He was joined by Boy George, whose band Culture Club will join Stewart on his upcoming UK tour. I did not know Culture Club was still around. He said, "I'm actually stopping. I'm not retiring, but I want to move on too. I had great success with the Great American Songbook, All American Standards, and I've just done a swing album with Jules Holland, which is going to come out next year. So I want to go in that direction. I just want to leave all the rock and roll stuff behind for a while, maybe." So he's not retiring. He just wants to. Go in a different direction. Who can blame him, guy? I mean, if you've done all that, had the success he's had over the years, I guess you can do that. I mean, now Alice Cooper supposedly has a new album coming out. I don't know if you guys heard about that. He announced Road album details, shares I'm Alice single. And it looks like he's going to be produced by Bob Ezrin, who, if you're a Kiss fan, you know who Bob Ezrin is. He did Destroyer. He did Revenge. And I think he helped work on Psycho Circus some. It's going to be released August 25th. The album's first single, I'm Alice, is available now where you can listen to, I'm sure, wherever you stream music at. But Alice Cooper keeps doing it, dude. I mean, for somebody, Paul Stanley, you keep saying nobody wants to hear classic rock people do new music. I think you're wrong, dude. I respectfully disagree with you. Guns N' Roses bassist Duff McKagan has announced his third solo album, which will be Lighthouse. I think Slash is going to be on there, among others. I have not listened to Extreme's new album, 6, which came out last Friday. I've got to listen. Yeah, Alice Cooper likes to do golf. So, I mean, yeah, Brian, you're right about that. So I'll listen to his music when I want to stay up, and then I'll watch him play golf when I want to go to sleep. So I'm sorry, I couldn't pass that one up. some new stuff that we're going to be doing on the fly. And I don't know. I don't have Spotify. I have Apple Music. What is this? Yeah, I have Apple Music. So, and I don't know if I can do it on Spotify or not, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do a playlist every week, and this playlist is gonna have 10 songs, and it's gonna be 10 songs that are real, or I mean, no real theme to it. It's just gonna be 10 songs, and I've already picked out a playlist, the first 6 playlists. It's just gonna have 6 songs that maybe I want you guys to check out if you haven't checked it out. And I mean, it does country, it does some R&B, it does rock. Um, I mean, and it's classic stuff, new stuff, whatever. I just want you guys, hopefully you enjoy it. Let me know what you think of the list, and hopefully this will be, like I said, I've got the first 6, my first 6 playlists planned out. So, and some good songs out there, in my opinion. And you guys, maybe we'll get you guys to vote on what you think is the top 3 on each list after you listen to it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. This is going to be, and some of them might be my guilty pleasures up here, something that you wouldn't think that I would listen to, but I do. Because if it's music, if it's good music, it's good music. I mean, we talked about that last night on the interview with Eric. Eric was talking about his guilty pleasure was probably the Backstreet Boys, and Eric he's a big time country music guy, but he said, I will pump some Backstreet Boys up every once in a while in his truck. So nothing wrong with that. I've got a few Backstreet Boys songs that probably be on this playlist as well. Anyway, like I said, guys, tonight, be there or be square. I'm going to be as pretty as possible, pretty as possible tonight, which ain't a lot. Brian will be with me tonight. Brian's been commenting in here. He's talking about golf now. He'll be in here tonight for our Tesla Coming At You Live album draft. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. So be sure to be here. Guys, I appreciate your support. Please give me a 5-star review out there on my podcast on Apple or Spotify, Good Pods, Podchaser, wherever you listen to your podcast at. Please give me a 5-star review. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's going to have all the interviews. You'll get to see most of the time what we look like on that. I'm working on getting some of the older episodes up here on the YouTube channel soon, so you'll get some flashbacks back when I didn't have good internet and we had to do phone interviews, which was fun, but I enjoy doing it. It's a lot better doing it this way. But like I said, tonight at 8 o'clock, then tomorrow night, 7:30, me and Matthew, top 10 favorite NFL quarterbacks, not the greatest quarterbacks, but favorite quarterbacks of all time. So I'm sure Matthew will have Eli Manning number 1. I guarantee you guys. How much does anybody want to bet out there that he has Eli Manning number 1 on his list? Because, and I can guarantee you, everybody will say, "Well, your list is going to be Steeler loaded." Well, maybe not. I might have some surprises up there for you, as far as that goes. So, just make sure you tune in, and like I said, guys, check us out. 5-star review. Subscribe to YouTube. That is your that's your homework. You're in summertime. Maybe I'll give you a little bit of homework. Your homework is 5-star review and YouTube subscription for us, for On the Fly and the Final Score. That's going to do it for today, guys. You guys have a great day. We'll see you next time on the Fly and on the Final Score.